Hello, everybody. This is Teresa Graham once again coming at you from Destination Mountaintop. And this is our first interview for 2022. We're going to be coming at you all year with exciting and new information. And tonight, who we have? We have my co-host, which you guys are used to seeing his face, Roosevelt Thompson, my friend, known to me as Ro. So please excuse me if I don't say pastor. He's a pastor, Emmanuel Christian Center Church over here on Arkansas side, but I call him Ro. So, and we also have a new guest to the virtual couch. And this gentleman here is Stephen D. Ward. He is running for sheriff of Miller County. So this is an opportunity for us to be educated as voters, to hear his agenda, to hear about him, and to make an educated choice, and to ask some hard questions and some pertinent questions. Um, if you have a question, as always, get in the chat. We can put it on the screen and answer your question. If you want to join the conversation, put it in the chat. I can send you a link through your messenger and you can come on in, be on screen if you're bold enough, and join the conversation. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ward and let him introduce himself to us.
Hi, my name is Stephen D. Ward. I've worked for Miller County Sheriff's Office for 14 years. I was born at Wadley Hospital in Texarkana, Texas, and I grew up in Texarkana, Arkansas, where I went to the Texarkana, Arkansas School District, graduated from Arkansas High School, then went to Texarkana College, attended out there, went to Texas A&M Texarkana, and like I said, I've been gainfully employed with Middle County Sheriff's Office for 14 years. Started out as a patrol deputy in civil process. Went into narcotics, where I was there for a year, the narcotics task force. I then was transferred to the criminal investigation division. I served approximately 3 years there. Then I became a supervisor in patrol as a corporal and then as a sergeant. Like I said, this is January 22nd will actually be the anniversary day with my 14th year, and I'll be working on that going toward 15. So I am running for Miller County Sheriff. I want to make Miller County as good as possible for everybody. Uh, the sheriff is about law enforcement, but it can be so much more. And we need to do so much more for our community. Our citizens, every citizen deserves the best we can give them.
All right, Mr. Ward, thank you so much. Now, what made you want to run for sheriff?
Well, like I said, I've served as a deputy sheriff for 14 years, and I believe that this is an opportunity for me to expand my service. I've worked for three very different administrations. I've seen good things and bad things, and I would like to do my part to make things better. I really believe that I have the ideas and the wherewithal and the experience in Miller County to do just that. I want to bring the eyes of a deputy, but the eyes of a citizen in Miller County to the sheriff's office. And I want to make our citizens part of the sheriff's office. It should not be an us and them. It just needs to be an us. And if we can include everybody, get everybody at the table, I think we can make things so much better and just move us forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is great because there really is a divide between law enforcement and the average citizen, a big divide. And especially in communities of color, there is no trust, and it's going to be a hard road to climb, but I believe that it's climbable. Ro, you want to jump in here?
It sounds like listening to you. It sounds like that, Mr. Ward, you want to do something diversifying. as a when I say diversifying things, putting the community more involved with law enforcement. And my dealings with Miller County, I've never known really much about the county law enforcement other than just a particular what they do. But it sounds like to me that you are saying that you want to implement some ways that you can more diversify the sheriff department into the community.
Yeah,
Which is something that's badly needed and something that is here in Miller County that is not even talked about. So I honestly think just listening to you opening up that you really that you really are more in touch with society than just wanting to be sheriff.
yes, sir. Well, I definitely want to diversify, and I definitely want to involve our communities. We all have to pull on the rope together to make things happen. And if we're not, then we're divided. But together, and united, we can do anything imaginable. But yes, I want to diversify, and I want to bring in the community. In fact, as sheriff, I will meet with every community 4 times a year, every quarter. I want to
Mm,
meet with the communities and open up with transparency because we do have to build trust. Trust in law enforcement across the nation has been lost, and we need to build trust with our community. So, the best way I know how to do that is to bring the community into the sheriff's office, let them see what the sheriff's office does, educate them about the sheriff's office, and introduce them to our deputies and staff because if we are together like that, if you know the deputy, you're more than likely going to go speak to him because he is a friend of yours. If it's just a uniform, you might not approach that person. So I want all of our deputies, I want all of our staff to be as big a part of the community as the community is in the sheriff's office.
Exactly.
that was one of the questions I was going to ask, and I think that open door policy, meeting with the community 4 times a year, I think that's a great idea, and I think that how do you plan on going about, or who would you? Let's see, how can I word this? What would be the demographic of the people that are going to be that will be in these meetings? Would it be like now when it comes to something, you have a group of area pastors who usually go meet with the powers that be. But in my opinion, this group of area pastors that go meet with them, they don't really represent the community because they're not even really uh mixed in. No offense, Ro, I don't lump all pastors together, but they're not really in touch with the local community. They have churches in our area, but you can kind of come in and out of a community but not really be a part of a community.
Mhm.
And I think that if this is going to be, how are you going to assure that you really have people on these committees that are in touch with the community, know what the community's thinking, know what the community is feeling, and would be able to take that information back to the community, if
Well,
that makes sense.
sure. What we will do is we will meet with each community or in that geographical area 4 times a year. So that would mean that we would go into Texarkana and meet with people in Texarkana and Garland City. We would do that.
Mhm.
Mandeville, Falk, Rondo, Ravenna, and the Doddridge area. We would go to these communities and we would make an announcement when we would be there and make it available for anybody in that community to attend
Mm,
those meetings and for
yes,
anybody in those communities to ask questions uh,
yes.
because they need to have that opportunity. As a sheriff is an elected official. Well, as a deputy and a sheriff, you're a public servant, and you need to serve the public that you represent. And the
Mhm.
best way I know how to do that is to be in touch with the communities. And
Exactly.
at 4 times a year, guaranteed 4 times a year, having these meetings, that makes it available for anybody in that community to attend. And, sometimes elderly people have a hard time maybe coming to the sheriff's office, but they might could make it to the local community center or a local church. We could
Yes.
have these at different areas, and that way they could have an input. We all have a seat at the table of our county, and we
Yes.
all could have input on how we can make our county better. And that's what I intend to do, is to bring people in, to open up the transparency of the sheriff's office, but to also build that trust back, because I want people to be a part of things. And by doing that, and working with our community, and our pastors are great.
Yes.
And I plan to work with our pastors. In fact, I'd like to make a coalition of churches, uh, put them together, because we have programs that we want to enact, or that are enacted right now. One specifically is the Family in Need program.
Mhm.
And there are families out in our community that have needs, and they're not being met. So the sheriff's office has a program that has been working on, where we can provide needs. I'd like to expand that. And I'd like to be able to reach out to the different churches, because they've already got a network in the community established of who needs help. And,
Mhm.
the members can reach out and say, hey, this person needs some help.
Mhm.
So if we have a coalition of churches, we may not have all the manpower we need to help a family out if it needs a new porch, or if the family
Mhm.
needs uh, something moved, or, I mean, it could be for anything. But if
Mhm.
we grow a coalition together, then we'll have the manpower, we'll have the opportunity, and we'll be able to reach those people that need to be reached.
Good. Good. Um, Ro, I'm gonna put you on, and
Okay.
then I have a question.
Okay. Let me say this. It's you are listening to you. You gotta you got a plan. You got a plan as far as our community goes. You got a great plan. When you said, what I really admire about what you just said, you said, now I want to reach beyond the pastors. I want
Yes.
the people themselves. Because you got to take into the point that what Teresa was saying, Sister Graham was saying. She was saying that, hey, these pastors that they are meeting with, all they do is go to church on Sunday and go home. But Mr. Ward, it sounds like you got the uh, you wear the verse of what you want to do. You got a plan. I mean, and listening to your plan, it's an excellent plan, and just my opinion. But
Yes.
I'll let Teresa speak, and I want to come back, and I want to ask you a question about drug rehabilitation within the community. But
Yes.
I'll let you go ahead on and
Mhm.
uh,
Okay, my question is one thing that we see in the news all the time, nationally, is a lot of the cases where um, people are being shot are excessive force. That a lot of the people involved in those incidents have mental issues.
Mhm.
And the call was put out for help because they couldn't handle it. Like I had when my elder sister died, I brought her son in. I was not familiar with her son because they lived in California. The last time I saw him, he was a year old, and here was this big, tall 15-year-old. Well, everything went good for a while, but then being highly autistic,
Mhm.
non communicating autistic, there was one morning when he had a total meltdown. Now, this is a big, strong, 6 foot, 200 and something pound
Mhm.
15-year-old. We had to call in the paramedics and the police. But it was a fear to do that because, okay, we need you out here, but this is an autistic teenager, a nonverbal autistic teenager. So please don't come with guns. Luckily, it was not handled that way. They handled it great. They took him, to St. Michael, where they gave him some sedatives and he was allowed to calm down and get to the point where I could bring him back home. But had that been a different day and a different cop and a different paramedic, that could have went a totally different way. What do you have in place about, and we have our homeless community here in Texarkana is largely people with mental illness. What do you have in your vision about dealing with that and getting that within the ranks about dealing with those issues?
Sure. And that's an excellent question. We have to have people trusting us to be able to respond to their needs. Mental illness is a huge part uh, in our community where we deal with these people who have specific needs. So we have to have officers who are educated and trained on how to talk to those people and handle those people
Yeah.
that do have those specific needs. We do have a program, and officers are required to take it in the state of Arkansas for mental health. But we also need to expand that training because you can take an 8-hour course and you leave and you might not retain some of that. So we need to have more training about specific things like mental health and how you approach that. We also have the requirements to have a mental health officer at the sheriff's office.
Good.
And I wouldn't mind having several mental health officers because, if you have one that's off duty, chances are you might have another that's available.
Yes.
So we do need to all be trained on how to handle specific needs. I'd also like to make a group of people, not only for helping people out with families and needs, but we also need to be able to plug in people in the right places. One of the big things has been the jail and overcrowding. Well,
Mm.
it's not going to do anybody any good that has mental health issues to be locked up. But if they've committed a crime, we need to address that crime. But perhaps we can find a place to plug them in order to help them out and prevent them in the future from going down that
Yes.
road. So I would like to look into that to expand those programs and work into creating networks with people that we can plug those people into that need that specific help and work together in order to best serve our citizens because citizens with mental health are still our citizens and we need to be able to help them out too.
Yes. Yes. Great. I'm going to put Pastor on. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. We was talking about mental health. I was talking about drug rehabilitation. A lot of people that get in the a lot of people that get in the problem, they have drug problems, and do the county offer any kind of drug rehabilitation or is there any kind of when it comes to drugs, and we know that some of them that be on drugs, I'm not talking about nobody go out and commit murder or nothing, but some of them go out and commit some of these minor offenses and catch felonies and they be on drugs. Do the county offer any kind of drug rehabilitation?
Well, I tell you what I would like to do, and that is a RSAT program in our detention center, and that would be a residential substance abuse treatment program. There's a very popular program in Sevier County right now where they have a high success rate in taking people who are living in addiction and moving them into living in sobriety.
Mm.
Through this run that I've made when I announced and said that I wanted to do an RSAT program, I've had a tremendous amount of people who have lived in addiction and have moved on to sobriety that are successful people reach out to me and ask to help. So I think that's fantastic that these people are willing to say, hey, I had this problem in my life. I've achieved the goal, and currently I'm living in sobriety. Now that is a lifelong thing that they have to focus on, is living in sobriety, but it is doable. And a lot of our arrests are directly related to drugs or drug related crimes. So we've got to figure out how do we correct these problems. And I do believe that rehabilitation or teaching people that are in living in addiction to live in sobriety and teaching them the right path to go, I think would make leaps and bounds differences in our community. Um, it's very possible and it's very doable, but you have to have somebody that's there inspiring them to help them and giving them the program that they need and support that they need in order to live in sobriety. So I would like to enact that in our detention center, a program very much like what's in Sevier County, to do a residential substance abuse treatment program. And you know, if we save one person, if we move one person into sobriety, then to me that's worth anything that we've done. But I do believe we can be more successful than that, and that when we enter that program and enact it, that I think we'll have good results because, you know, the people that I've arrested, oftentimes, if it's drug related, I ask them, you know, what led them to take drugs. And it's a variety of responses. But you always ask them, well, do you have children? And they say, you know, most of them, yes, I do. Well, do you want them to go down this path? And they say, no, I don't. So I want to help them help themselves, but it has to come from their heart. It has to be something that they want. And if they want it, then we will give it to them, and we will stand beside them and help them become successful members of our community. I think that would be just an amazing thing to see those transformations. And I've seen people, and I'm very inspired by those who have reached out to me. It's an amazing thing, and it's possible, but we've got to be there to support them. But you know, for drug related crimes and drugs, we don't need people selling drugs in our community. We don't need people stealing from citizens who work hard because they want their drug habits. So those people who want to continue into crime, they need to leave. They need to go. They don't need to be in our community. So I think, you know, if that's what they want to do, and it's in their heart to sell dope to our children, to steal from us, then leave.
Yes.
Because we will not offer you any quarter here in Miller County.
Yes.
But we will not offer you any quarter here in Miller County. But if you want to change, if you want a positive life, or you want to become a positive member of society, then we will do everything in our power to help you do that.
Yes.
So that's what I would like to do. But yes, I believe in offering a residential substance abuse treatment program and making those connections in order to get people the help they need.
Okay.
I love what. Go ahead, Rob.
One more question on that. Okay, we talk about our big needs that we need as far as mental health and everything go in, but all that comes with finance. You know, will that I mean, you know, implement something like that there? Will the sheriff office, in other words, will that be something like that be in your budget?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that. I've had a lot of people volunteer to help out with this program if it is enacted. So I think a lot of the costs can be cut down by volunteer work. There's a lot of people who want to help out. Now there will be certain costs, and you know, I don't want to ask you or anybody else in Miller County to reach deeper in their pocket and pay more in taxes in order to fund programs that are extra. But I also will do everything in my power to obtain funds, whether it's from donations or from fundraising, whatever I have to do to generate revenue in order to pay for this. I'm willing to do it, but I'm not willing to ask you to reach deeper into your pocket and pay more in taxes. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to any of those citizens. We already pay enough in taxes, and it's getting harder with the cost of living.
Yeah.
But I do believe that if you're passionate and if you're excited, that's contagious. And I believe that there will be enough people that are willing to help out, to volunteer their time, make donations to certain programs, that we'll be able to do this and do it successfully. You know, I operate on a budget, and I know how to make money stretch. Everybody has to. So we need to operate like we're working at our home. You know, like
Yes.
the business is our home. If we don't have the money to spend, we can't spend it. You know, so we don't need to do that. But we can find other ways if we have to raise some money or reach out to people and businesses that might want to donate and sponsor a person, then I think that would be a fantastic way to get what we need without having to generate
Right.
more taxes.
Right.
Well, from the comment that um let me get okay, everybody's on. One thing about the comment Mr. Johnny Smith made, he said the main thing I see with Steve is that he cares about all of us in Miller County as his roots are here. For a long time now, we would meet Steve at the mailbox, and these were ideas he has had for many years. I believe he will actually do all these things as they are from his heart due to the love he has for Miller County. Um, and I think that's why, thank you, Johnny. I think that's why you can talk. Any question that we're asking you, you can talk about it and talk about it with passion because this is your agenda is not something that was just thought of for this race. This is something that passionate for you. And you really do believe, and I spoke to you in a phone call when we scheduled this, you have a firm belief in God. And you believe that God has called certain people to the forefront to change and make change in Texarkana. And you truly believe that Texarkana can become a beacon
Mhm.
and a city that other cities look at and say, look at how they turn things around. Look at how they change things.
Mhm.
And I believe that right now, God, and you don't mix God and politics, but I do believe that at this time, God is calling for people and putting them in certain offices because Miller County is crying for change.
Yes.
Uh, Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas are both crying for change. We're tired of seeing our kids get shot. We're tired of the drugs. We're tired of the uh, neighborhoods like I'm here in Miller County on College Hill, where we have so many boarded up houses and dilapidated houses. We want to see things change. You go to Texas side, you see progress, you see change. I've been here in Miller County, Arkansas for 34 years now. I moved here from Baltimore, Maryland. I've been on College Hill now for basically 34 years, and there has been no change, hardly. No infrastructure change, no businesses brought in, no it's time for change. And I
Yes.
think from the older to the younger, everybody wants change. And I know I'm listening to the questions we're asking you, and it's like we're asking you to come in as sheriff and fix our issues. I know it's going to take a lot more than just the sheriff's office. The question I had to ask is specifically between the Texarkana Police and the sheriff's office, what is the specific job of the sheriff's office in Miller County?
Well, the sheriff's office takes care of everything outside of Texarkana, Arkansas. Now we do serve civil papers in the city limits, but the sheriff's office is actually responsible for law enforcement outside the boundaries, the geographical boundaries of Texarkana, Arkansas. Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department deals with everything in the city limits. So that's really the only difference, and that we serve civil process in not only the city but also in the county throughout Miller County, Arkansas. But yes, you're right. We do need change, and we can create the change that we need. We can't change the world, but we can change our world,
Yes.
and we've got to be willing to do that. We can be that shiny star on the hill, but we have to put in the effort to do it. And just being a sheriff, you deal with the sheriff's office, but that doesn't mean that you can't help out in the rest of Miller County. We need somebody to inspire, and we need somebody that's passionate for our community. And I do believe that I have that, and I want to be used by God in order to do His will. And I pray for that every day. Now,
Yes.
let me tell you, I am not a perfect person, and I'll fall short of the glory of God every day. And if somebody wants somebody that's perfect and doesn't make mistakes, vote for somebody else. Don't vote for me. But
You
I'm
ain't
going to
running.
be transparent, and I'm going to do the very best I can, and I'm going to give you 150% every day. And I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference. That's why I got into law enforcement. Um, it was kind of corny, but when I first got into law enforcement, I thought, Lord, if you'll help me help one person in my career, if I can help one person and make a true difference in their life, then I've done my job. And I
Yes.
believe I've helped more than one person, but I still work every day for the one person. So if I can help one person truly help them, then I think that my job is done correctly. Uh, but we have to have.
Yeah, I know we talked about that. Okay, you got the goals and you got the goals and everything, and we know that it's gonna take time and it's gonna take effort. Just because you're the sheriff, you can't change it by yourself. You're gonna need
Yeah.
it. Like you said, you got to get the community involved. Once you get the community involved, we as the people can change some things.
Yes.
But I want to change. I want to change up on you before we get out. I want to talk to you about the jail itself. The now my calculation might not be right, but please correct me. I believe it was either in '99 or 2000 when we passed the tech tax to build a jail.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheriff H.F. Phillips had told us that after, I believe, after 20 years, that tax will be uh, uh, be relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
and which we pretty much knew the way the economy is that wasn't going to happen. But I see that it came back up as expanding the jail, that you have in an overcrowding problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that you have put it on there for the tax, but all of a sudden, it was backed out. It was backed out. Could you explain? Could you explain to us what happened? What happened that you decided not to go through with it? But well, it's not you, but the sheriff department decided not to go through with asking for this.
Sure. Well, I think what happened is that through the those who were advocating this expansion, and we are going to get an expansion, but it's going to be paid through some of the COVID relief money
That
that
might
Miller
go.
County has been awarded. So that will only come at a cost to the taxpayers through the federal tax that you've paid throughout your life. But the reason why I believe we have not gone on with the further expansion is because it just wasn't popular. People don't want to pay more taxes. In fact, people ask me about it. I said, do not vote for this tax. Um, it just was not. It's not fair and it's not right. We are not focused on reducing the population. We're focused on increasing it. If we're increasing the detention facility, uh, we need to start focusing on reduction. That can be done in various methods with pretrial release. That can be done through the RSAT program, because if people want to get better and they want to use that program, That's 90 days that they spend in jail. They have to go through the program, and then the rest of that year, they have to come to the sheriff's office and pass drug tests and do correct things. And then, if they've made restitution, their trial, whatever they were adjudicated as, their sentencing was deferred at that point, or will be deferred. But that'll have to be worked through with the prosecuting attorney's office and other individuals. But that would be a way to lower our population. But never in the salesmanship of this tax was it mentioned how can we lower our population. We just assume that it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's not the case. We can do things in our community to lower that population, but we have to build people up. You know, if some people stumble and fall, we need to be willing to pick them up. Now, granted, there are some people that do certain things that are just so bad they need to be locked up, and they need to pay their debt to society.
Yes.
But for those who are available to go through a program or get some help, let's see what we can do to help them out. If we can plug them into mental health instead of having them incarcerated for years, let's do that. If they need some drug counseling and they're willing to go through the RSAP program, let's do that. Let's see what we can do to help lower our population so we're not facing this in another 10 years and go, oh my gosh, we've got too many people in jail. We need to figure out how do we reduce that. And I think that's by changing hearts and minds and reaching out to people. What's going on now for years, as y'all said, we need change. And we need to think outside the box because nothing's happening other than we're just incarcerating more and more people. And
Yes.
So we need to figure out solutions to not only lower our crime rate, to lower our intake in our jail, but to actually do something to help people out where they don't want to go out and commit crimes and they don't want to, get on drugs, or we can get them off of drugs where they're not committing those crimes. And if we can do that, I think we can lower our intake and lower our jail population, and then maybe we'll have extra room. I'd like to see a pod that's empty because we can't fill it. So, but we've got to work to that goal. It may never happen, but if we don't work to it, it won't happen. So we've got to work to that goal.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. I done lost my volume.
When your phone.
Yeah, I lost my volume. It done went down, won't come up.
Yeah, when your phone rang, that's what happened. If you want to, you can go out and come back in, and it should restore it.
Okay.
But that's what happened when your phone rang.
Oh.
And Mr. Ward, that was a good answer. And
that was a great answer.
One thing, one thing, especially in the Black community that we talk about is how it seems like the system is set up to give you a felony. And once a felony's on your record, that kind of, just, it stops everything. It stops potential jobs, it stops potential housing, it stops a lot. But sometimes, no, it doesn't all the time. It feels like the system is set up to give you, as a minority, a felony. And it's felonies over things that our counterparts would not even get a felony about. They would get a slap on the wrist and probation, and we get a felony. And I would like to see, I don't know if the sheriff's office can do anything to change that. A lot of yes, there is profiling that goes on where you're pulled over just because driving while Black. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to attack you, but this is a reality in my community. You are pulled over for driving while Black. You are pulled over. Just on Christmas Eve, my grandsons, my great grandsons, their father's on the way to bring them to me. What's taking you so long? He got pulled over. First it was, well, your car sounds too loud. Then it was, well, we perceive the odor of marijuana. Then it was, you don't have insurance. Now he has a 14-month-old and a 2-month-old in the back seat in the dark crying, and he's handcuffed. It wasn't marijuana in the car. His muffler is loud. Yes, it's an old school. And yes, he had proof of insurance. So after 45 minutes with the kids crying in the back seat, they let him go. We shouldn't have to go through that. And unfortunately, it is a reality in my community. It is a reality that we have to train our sons and daughters how to respond if you encounter police officials. Where our white counterparts don't have to do that with their children. What do you have in place to teach your officers more diversity and more um, just treating us right? Ain't no other way to say it. Treating us right as a people.
Sure, sure, and I understand that. The state of Arkansas does require that each officer go through racial profiling every year. Um, Unfortunately, from your experience, it's showing that that's probably not working as it should. But you know, the scales of justice, Liberty, Lady Justice stands there and she's got a blindfold on her. And the reason she has a blindfold is justice is supposed to be blind. It shouldn't be for white or black or Hispanic or anything different. It should be equal across the board.
Yeah.
And that is the goal, and that should be the goal every time something happens. Um, Many times I've stopped people of different colors. I've stopped, white people and black people and Hispanic people, and I try to treat people fair, like I want my family to be treated, or like I would be treated on a traffic stop. Um, but first you have to have, the probable cause to pull that person over, and it needs to be a legitimate thing. So we do have cameras that we wear, and every time we make an interaction, those cameras are turned on. And
Yes.
that's one of the best things that we've ever happened. Not only does it keep officers doing what they're supposed to do, but it also protects officers too, because a lot of
Yes.
times that we face that someone says, "Well, that officer was rude," or they told me this, and you go back and you watch the footage and you go, "Well, that didn't happen." Um, so it's a dual purpose thing. It helps the officer, and
Yes.
also helps the individual we're making contact with. So I think that's a fantastic thing that we have in law enforcement now, because
Mhm.
it keeps everybody accountable,
Yes.
to do the right thing. And we also, when we pull people over, we have to document those traffic stops, and it documents the color and race. So. And the gender. So by doing that, you can pull those citations. And if someone's stopping too many, females, or too many African American people, or too many Hispanic, or whatever individuals, it can be tracked. So I also think that's a good thing. So you can see, if somebody's doing that or doing wrong. Uh, so anyway, I think that's probably one of the best things we have is the cameras, and the to be able to be accountable through our documentation.
Mhm.
We definitely need to have people who care and love the people they serve, and that doesn't, that's the citizens. That doesn't have anything to do with race. It's people.
Right.
These are people we serve. We don't need to be focused on color, and that somebody did something because of their color. That to me is just so foreign. It's not
Yeah.
correct. We are all individuals that deserve respect, and due process, and correct treatment, and that's what kind of officers that I want. I've talked to people, and I'll say this, and it is kind of corny, but sometimes we need a little bit more Mayberry in Miller County, and if we have that, I think life would be a lot better for all of us.
Mhm.
We just have to have compassion for those that we serve, and we're not there to judge people. We
Mhm.
shouldn't be. We're there to enforce the law, and law should be enforced in an unbiased manner.
Mhm. I think you just gave a lot of the viewers um, a lot of information that they didn't have. They did not know that things were tracked that way, that you could see if an officer is excessively pulling over blacks or Hispanics or females or all of these things that give accountability. A lot of people, especially me, I didn't know that all of that was in place. So that gives me a little more peace of mind when I am pulled over, if I just happen to be pulled over, or one of my grands are pulled over. That gives me a little more peace of mind because I didn't know those things were in place. It also gives me power and information because I can say with an educated voice, can you pull this officer's record and
Sure.
see if this was going on and
Yeah.
see if that was going on? I can go in and talk with intelligence when I want to question a thing instead of going in rah, rah, rah. I can go in and, hey, look, can we check this out?
Sure.
Because this is what happened. Can
Hmm.
we check the camera? Did he have his camera on? Can we check the youth in my neighborhood say they're having this encounter with this particular officer? Can you check and see if he is actually doing this? So that gives us this power and information and knowledge. So it gives me a surety. Um,
Yes.
Ro, you, Pastor, we have one more question that you want to ask before we close out.
No, I just want to just say before we close out, I just want to say, Mr. Ward, you seems to me that you are passionate about about what you're doing, and me being around the community and talking to many leaders within the community. This is the first time I've talked to anyone that truly have passion for what they are doing, that are truly serving the peoples, that are truly that you say that you have been called, and your passion, you are so passionate about it. You say, if I can just help one person, you know, and that's all it takes, because if you can help that one person and that person help one person, then we're going to get something done. So I just want to tell you, you've got my support. You've got my support. You've got passionate, and when you when you get things off the ground, you need my help. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to call on me. I'll be more than happy to help
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
you.
Mr. Ward, we have uh, one last question from Bert Dunn, my sister-in-law. Love you, Bert. She wants to know the number of blacks that are on the force, the percentage on the sheriff's department force. And I'm going to add to that, is there any plan to hire more blacks and Hispanics to make it more diverse?
Okay. Well, right now we have 4 African American deputies, and we have 1 Hispanic deputy. And I would like to have more diversity in the sheriff's office. I want children of all backgrounds to see deputies out there from their background working, and I want them to have a role model, somebody to look up to. We went to a church not long ago, and we're handing out things to children who it was a health fair, and we were participating. And one of my good friends, who's a Hispanic deputy, was there, and there were little children that only spoke Spanish. And they came up to us, and they seemed timid and afraid. But once he started speaking Spanish to them, they just brightened up. And I told him, I
Yes.
said, look, you made their day, because now they can see themselves in your position, that they see something there that they wouldn't have seen if he hadn't been working. So yes, I'd love to expand the diversity. I'd love to expand, have more African Americans, more Hispanics. I'd like to have more women on the force. I believe that that's very important. because I want everybody to have somebody that they can look up to and
Yeah.
say, I can do that too. Because look at what they're doing, and at least have some inspiration in their life, because it's just very important. People may not want to speak just to me. I'm a big guy, and I can be intimidating just by being in the room. But if somebody has been molested or raped or something, and you have a female that's there, or somebody
Yes.
that's not as big as me, it can help. So with our Hispanic community, they might be afraid of the police too, because they may need help, and have been told, hey, don't mess with the police. But if there's a Hispanic officer, they're more than likely to open up. So we need to be able to serve our community, and that means all of our community, not just
Yes.
one part of it. So yes, I'd like to expand.
Okay. Bert has one last question. I guess the way we could say this is, what is the total officers on the force? How many whites? How many blacks? How many Hispanic? We know we got one Hispanic, 4 blacks. How many whites?
There's about in total about 25 positions, and so
Okay.
there's 5 minorities, and then we have 2 females that work for us that are white, and then the rest are white males. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yep. So there is room left for more diversity,
Sure,
but
sure. Hey,
but
if you know somebody that wants a
wants to be a
brighter
sheriff.
career, send them our way, because we're always looking for good qualified candidates to come work with us.
I wish I was younger. Y'all don't want me. I been over. Kathy did come on. Kathy Hiller, she says yes. And Mr. Johnny Smith had one more comment. He said, like Steve said before, if deputies meet members of the community, then there would be less instances of profiling as you recognize the people as they pass. And that's true. We do
Yes.
need a little more Mayberry. People, one thing that I have seen with the police, Texarkana Police Department on Arkansas side, there are officers who actually live in the community. And
Sure.
there are, like I know when I lived in Union Village, there was a policeman who lived directly across the street.
Mhm.
And I do know, spotted out through College Hill, there's a couple of officers who live right in the community,
Mhm.
and a couple of officers, especially with the housing authority, they have officers assigned to our area, and I do know some of those officers personally by sight, and they know me, and I
Yeah.
had that feeling of safety.
Yes.
I want to thank you, and I'm going to let you give your parting short of what you want us to know, because you got my vote.
Well, thank
I think it's just fantastic. Give us your parting short, what you want us to know.
Well, I just want everybody to know that there's a brighter future ahead of Miller County. That we all will play a part in that future if I have an opportunity to be your sheriff. Please come out May 24th, 2022. Vote for Stephen D. Ward for Miller County Sheriff. And I'm just excited. I really am. I'm excited about the opportunity to serve. I'm excited about the opportunity to see Miller County and the great future it has. So I just humbly ask for your vote, and make sure, no matter who you're voting for, make sure they earn your vote. You see these people come out every 2, 4 years. They ask for your vote. They've asked for mine, and I give it to them, and they disappear. That will not be me. I will be out there every day. I will be in the community, and I'm going to be available. So we're gonna build that trust back, and we're gonna have a good time doing it, and we'll all be part of it.
Right.
We here we go. We what did I do with you? There we go.
Here I am.
I thank you so much
Thank you.
for answering my call when I invited you to be on the virtual couch. And I know that everybody listening to this broadcast, listening to this live, were educated. I'm sure, I think we answered just about all the questions anybody would want to ask. and you gave us, oh my God, just excellent answers. Now, when we go to vote, we know who to vote for. If there's anybody else out there, or you know anybody else that is running for office and they want the community, the Miller County community, to hear their platform, tell them to inbox me or Teresa Graham on Facebook, or give me a call at 870-330-2092, and we would be glad to have you on the virtual couch. Mr. Ward would tell you we are not vicious. We don't attack you. We're here to hear your platform. In
That's
the
right.
political field, my counterpart, Pastor Roosevelt Thompson, if available, will always be with me as co-host because he's the political arm of Destination Mountaintop. So just give us a call and we will be glad to have you on the platform and let the people hear your agenda. Once again, Mr. Ward, we thank you. Ro, thank you. As always, faith, belief, forward motion. Remember who you are and whose you are. Bye bye, y'all.